واش كلب. انت من وين؟ روسيا. من روسيا جاي هنا يا كلب. اسلام انتم خرا. انتم خرا. خلي هسه الخليفه تجي ياخذكم.
Northern Iraq, August the 29th last year. So-called Islamic State is finally defeated. The ragtag remnants of its army paraded here by their Kurdish captors. Many of these fighters are foreign, the object of particular revulsion in Iraq. But it's not just men. Behind the line, huddled on the ground, are women and children, the prisoners' families.
Where do you go? Russia? Russia.
Including the wife and 2 children of this man, Nodar Efendiyev. Nodar was one of hundreds of jihadis recruited from the Caucasus Mountains of southern Russia. It's thought that more fighters joined IS from the former Soviet Union than from anywhere else in the world. The city Nodar and his family left behind was Nalchik. He grew up here with his mother Medina.
Это мой сын. Вот он со своим единственным любимым сыном.
Talha.
Тальха, да.
But you've never seen him, а вы, естественно, его никогда не видели?
Только по видео и вот фотографии. Я даже не прикоснулась к нему. О судьбе наших сыновей вообще ничего не знаем. Живы они или нет, нам никто об этом не говорит. И сколько бы мы ни пытались узнать хотя бы списки военнопленных, кто находится, где находится, нам не говорят.
Nodar travelled to Syria in 2014, part of a Russian jihadi group fighting President Assad's regime. In 2015, he took a break with his family in Turkey. There, they were recruited by IS, who took away their passports. Soon afterwards, they moved to Iraq to join the so-called Caliphate. The family ended up in Tal Afar in northwest Iraq.
Вот смотри, мамуся, что твоя свекровь делает.
The videos they sent home to Russia give the impression of normal family life. But Nodar's wife Aisha said the family was soon desperate to escape IS.
Она жаловалась и говорила, что и страшно, и детям страшно. Сын ничего не говорил. Потом она мне озвучила. Он говорит, если об этом где-то скажет и услышат, это вплоть до того, что могут казнить. Казнили бы не только его одного, а всю семью. И вот возникает у меня вопрос, почему тогда их называют террористами? Они просто глупые, обманутые дети, которые поехали туда.
Скоро, очень скоро, кровь прольется море.
Look at IS propaganda videos in Russian, and it's hard to believe that anyone who joined the organisation can really have been tricked. This one talks joyfully of a sea of blood. Many of the images are too shocking to show. IS ruled Tal Afar, where Nodar and his family lived, for 3 long years. But by last August, it was the group's only remaining stronghold in the region. Iraqi forces drove the jihadis from the town. Days later, that video of IS prisoners was already circulating on the web, and Medina recognized Nodar.
Вот и мой сын. Я думала, что это последний день моей жизни. Если мои дети не вернутся, я себя в этой жизни не вижу, потому что это моя жизнь, именно дети.
Medina's not alone in her desperation. More than 2,000 Russian women and children who lived under IS have simply disappeared. The lists of missing jihadi families go on and on. I've been trying to trace many of these families for months. Now I've come to Iraq, on the trail of some faint voices that have finally emerged from the rubble of Mosul.
Нас тут примерно 200 русскоязычных. Почему они нас держат? Блин, уже я не могу, тут очень холодно, нам даже нормально одеяло не дают.
Those messages were sent secretly by a woman called Rushena Tahirjanova, who was taken by her husband to join IS.
Допрашивали какие-то иранцы, приезжали на видео, нас снимали. И только один раз нас когда вывезли на улицу, и все.
She says the group of 210 are all women and children. They've been held for 6 months. They say they're being beaten, and they fear they'll be sold into prostitution. And with Roshana, in the same dungeon, is Nadar Efendiev's wife, Aisha, and their children.
Скажи моим детям, что я их очень сильно люблю. Пожалуйста, постарайся Надара найти и любовь с мной. Спасибо вам.
A secret message from her explains how the women were captured.
Оттуда, когда мы выходили, вертолет прилетел, 2 вертолета, по нам стреляли. Из больницы меня в машину положили, в автобус. И так меня привезли сюда, сразу сюда затащили.
And also from Aisha, the first clue about where they were being held.
Мы находимся в Мосуле, рядом с Мосулом село есть, в плену у Хашташаби. Наш главный посол Абу Джафар, зовут его Абу Джафар.
Abu Ja'far al-Shabaki is a well-known figure around Mosul. He commands a division of the Hashd-e-Shabi militia, a mainly Shia fighting force that lost many men in the fight to defeat IS. His ethnic group, the Shebek, was particularly targeted by the jihadis. So these villages round here are all populated by the Shebek minority. When ISIS came, they had to flee, otherwise they would all have been murdered. Now slowly they're beginning to come back, but even now these villages are only half populated. I've come to find Abu Ja'far at his base outside Mosul. I know he's keeping the 210 women and children captive somewhere near here. But Abu Ja'far doesn't know that I know anything about it. He's agreed to see me to talk about his own community.
From 2004 till 2014, we gave 1,735 sacrificed.
People killed, martyrs, people killed
yes.
In terrorist attacks.
Yes, because they are Shia and Shabak.
What we understand is that there's a group of people, women and children,
yes.
ISIS women and children,
yes.
and that you've been looking after them.
Yes.
Is that right?
From where you have this information?
Some of those people's relatives in Russia, for example, we heard from them.
Yes, they are here. But this issue belongs to the Al-Hajj Sha'bi Intelligence and court, Iraqi's court. It's not belong to me.
But roughly how many are here now?
Including the children, all of them is, I think, 210.
Including the children?
Yeah, with the children. But they got very, very, very good place. They've been like a hotel, 5-star hotel.
Wow.
Yes. على الخارج على الباب
سيدي أنا
Abu Ja'far wants to show me what kind of man he really is.
Yes.
He's taking me on a journey through villages destroyed by the fighting. His militia now defend areas that are vulnerable to attack from IS sleeper cells.
I built this school.
You built the school?
Yes, look, ISIS did that.
And he's rebuilding ruined schools to serve Shia and Sunni children.
We bring these stools for them from Mosul, we transport it.
Yeah.
We try to serve the people.
Yeah.
But Abu Ja'far is also the man accused of holding prisoners for months in appalling conditions. The details are spelled out in smuggled letters.
Mama, please, get us out of here. Everyone's ill. Lots of the children have pneumonia. There are nearly 100 people per room. The children are desperate to get out. But when they cry, the guards beat the women.
Let me ask you something, though, about the women and children.
Yes.
We've seen messages from them. They're sleeping on a concrete floor.
No.
100 people in one.
Look,
100 people in one room. The children have got pneumonia.
No.
And we're talking about children.
This is not right.
Really?
Yes, believe me.
But sometimes they say the guards were beating them.
No, no way. No.
No?
Absolutely no. This is not true. I am a human and I try to treat with the human as a human. Just take this in your brain.
But just before that encounter with Abu Ja'far, I discovered that he'd already been forced to give up his captives. Under pressure from the Russian authorities, the 210 women and children had been transferred the previous night to an overcrowded government jail in Baghdad. In recent weeks, Iraq has jailed more than 20 Russian women for life for belonging to IS. The Russian government hopes it'll be able to bring their children home. But in Iraq, there's a little sympathy for them. IS raped, murdered, enslaved without pity. It destroyed entire historic communities. All adult members or sympathisers must have known of its crimes. The men must all have been guilty or at least complicit. I'm heading northwest now, towards the Syrian border. This is the town of Ayadhir, where IS made its last stand in this part of Iraq. And you can just see from the destruction how intense the fighting must have been.
Russia? Fuck Russia.
And I think I've found where Nadar Efendiev was last seen. This must be the exact spot where this video of the lineup of the men and boys was made, because I can see it's exactly the same hills here behind and exactly those buildings of the village over there. So this is exactly the spot. The prisoners were led by their Kurdish Peshmerga captors into this schoolyard. Separated from the women and children, a few hundred men were placed, huddled against this wall. A fleet of buses took the women and children towards Iraqi army-held territory, while the men were driven further north, further behind Kurdish lines. This video is the evidence of what happened next on this bleak, arid floodplain. 375 IS prisoners are believed to have been summarily executed here by Kurdish forces. According to the evidence collected by Human Rights Watch, the shootings went on for a week, men taken out and executed night after night, and then many of the bodies dumped here. We don't know for certain that Medina's son, Nadar, the last one in the line on the video, is one of the ones who were killed, but it does seem quite likely. The Kurdish authorities deny responsibility for what happened, and there are no plans yet for an investigation. IS fighters, you might think they deserved anything they got. But the women, the children, here in Iraq, the silence over their fate too is yet to be broken.